Welcome in everybody to Fantasy Pros. This is Out of Bounds. It is me, Joey P. Joe Pisapia. With me, of course, is the Welsh. Scott Bogman is out this week. He's on a bye, which is a good thing for him. He's just kind of relaxing. Do we have a live clip right now of Scott Bogman on his bye? Oh, there it is. There's Scott Bogman enjoying the bye week. There you go. Just like the Pittsburgh Steelers were watching the Cincinnati Bengals, the Browns, and, of course, the Ravens lose again. Crazy times in the league, Welsh, because we have no more undefeated teams. This is tied for the second quickest in NFL history. 2005, I believe, was the last time this happened. By the time we got to this week in the NFL, no undefeated teams. We have one winless team, the Jets, and a lot of parity in the league going on. So how is that treating you? How you liking the parity where everybody's going to be, I don't know, 3-3 after next week?
I'm pretty much here for parody. I like a little bit of a mix. I don't like anybody taking it over. It's ruining a lot of gambling. There's some other stuff that's ruining a lot of gambling as well, but I'm here for it, and I like that live picture of Bogman on some Bagawaska out there, so hopefully he's doing well.
Hit him hard.
By the way, you 100%, as we were going to start the show, you almost called this leading off. I know you did, because it's just you and I. I could feel it in your soul that you were about to call this show leading off with just you and me.
Maybe. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. And of course, we're here on our Twitch, twitch.tv/fantasypros. That's the place to be. So we want you to drop your comments, your questions. We're going to do some questions with asses right here at the top of the show. We being the asses, you being the guys asking the questions, and the gals asking the questions. And of course, you're watching back on our YouTube channel on Fantasy Pros. So subscribe over there. And remember, we've got a new giveaway. Check this one out, Welsh. It's a doozy. Look at this. Boom! Devon Achane autographed jersey. Oh, yeah, from pristineauction.com. Yeah, this is where you get it from. Yeah, you're going to go to pristineauction.com for all the autographs that you need. Dig it? So Achane is the jersey up for grabs right now. Subscribers to the Twitch, by the way, get 1.5 times odds boost of winning this very giveaway. So if you want to enter, just leave a comment on any of our Twitch streams this week at twitch.tv/fantasypros. And again, if you're watching on our YouTube, just pop over there and try to win this jersey. It's pretty sick right there, even if it is a Dolphins jersey. And speaking of sick, the Dolphins are sick. Not in a good way, though. Not in a good way. However, my Patriots have a franchise quarterback, Welsh, and I'm very excited about that. I watched Drake Maye become a man on primetime Sunday Night Football. It was great to watch. Stefon Diggs, back-to-back 100-yard games. I'm feeling pretty good about the future of the Patriots. We got a coach. We've got a quarterback. And your San Francisco 49ers have a quarterback controversy. You don't think so. I do. Mac Jones is one of the guys leading the leagues in passing, and he hasn't even played every single day. How do you go back to Brock Purdy?
Hey, you're one of the smarter people that I know, and you usually say a lot of smart things. One of the dumbest things that you've said in a long time is that anybody thinks there's a controversy with Mac Jones. I'm trying to remember who it was. It might have been Erickson. Actually, this was the dumbest thing I've heard. I affectionately say stupid. Somebody said they didn't think the Niners wanted Mac Jones to go all out because they didn't want him to start a quarterback controversy. This is the first time. That's a stupid statement. This is stupid. There is no quarterback controversy. Mac Jones is a great backup. Good teams get backups. Brock Purdy's got the $250 million. When he's healthy, he's better. He's the quarterback. But guess what? The Niners are not absolutely done when Mac Jones is in at quarterback because they're all hurt. Wanda is still sucking in all the powers of all the players so Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy. There's no controversy.
All right, no controversy, Welsh says. All right, let's open things up here for the questions over on the Twitch here. Let's see. Where should we start with today? And remember, no start-sick questions. I just want to say that because start-sick questions, again, for tonight, this is going to air tomorrow. Nobody wants to watch that. Let's go with Worth Lake. Seems like a lovely place to vacation in the summertime. Safe to drop DeMarcado and Christian Kirk and Coleman. Is it safe to drop these guys? I think it depends on your league. Boy, DeMarcado, if only somebody this year had already dropped a ball before the end zone to remind everybody, hey, make sure you finish the play. If only that had happened this year already, Welsh. But how about these guys? DeMarcado, Kirk, Coleman. Do you want to drop these guys right now?
Yeah, I mean, this is another us getting ahead of the show sheet. My moment for this week, and since we're doing it, because I'm not going to just redo it later, DeMarcado is one of the dumber players I've seen in a long time. Like, I feel bad, like, as a human being for what happened, but it's beyond repair of, like, actually caring. Like, you cost your team the win. Another player had done it the week before. There's nothing dumber than that. he should be cut. And I guess there's gonna be some controversy today. I think a local radio is gonna have on the coach. They like kind of shoved him and got pissed and stuff. And DeMarcado was very apologetic. There's no chance. I'm saying all this. There's no chance he should be involved in this offense moving forward. Michael Carter was great. They like Bam Knight. I think they should cut DeMarcado. They won't. He'll probably kind of sit in the wings. I don't think you have any real big need for DeMarcado. If there's nothing to cut for, I don't make those moves. I know a lot of you guys out there. You're like, should I cut
I'll throw one
for
out
what?
at you.
Okay.
I just did a million waiver wires this shows today. Would you pick up Torrey Horton for Keon Coleman?
You're going to Coleman? No. Keon Coleman had an almost 30% first read share, even though he had the touchdown. Coleman is the non-cuttable player there. Kirk, you can go. Higgins had more usage. Noel is getting usage. I don't think you have to hold on to Kirk if there's something nice out there. I would cut Kirk if you needed a 1 week push for a guy like Kendrick Bourne this week. I would do that. But I also think I don't see DeMarcado getting a run in this offense. It was all Michael Carter. They had some Bam Knight, and DeMarcado literally cost this team the game. Not even like jokingly, figuratively, like he literally cost this team the game.
All right. Pancake, I see your baseball question, and I love you for it. Maybe at the end of the show, we'll try to sneak it in there. Let's go to a cheer question. Everyone's cheer. Let's cheer, baby. Let's go. Here's one from Ajax Bay. I don't know how you say that. What do you think would be fair one of these running backs to trade for Justin Jefferson in a half PPR? Maybe a guy buy high option and a buy low option I can pair with a lower end replacement wide receiver. So let's talk about Justin Jefferson's trade value, because I think that is the question here. Justin Jefferson still, no matter who's playing quarterback, gets open better than anybody else in the league. Justin Jefferson is still elite. Justin Jefferson has put up numbers with Kirk Cousins, with Josh Johnson. He's put up numbers with J.J. McCarthy, with Carson Wentz. I'm not looking to certainly trade Justin Jefferson, but let's talk about trade value for Justin Jefferson just in a vacuum here, because I think people are going to be looking around on it, and people are wondering, hey, when J.J. McCarthy comes back, does he take a hit? I say no, but let's put this out here for you. Running backs are dropping like flies, so trying to get a running back here. Would you take Quinshon Judkins and Drake London for Justin Jefferson? Is that a fair trade, or is that too much on one side?
It's too much on the Judkins London side. I do that in a heartbeat.
Okay, so let's go a notch below then. How about let's stay with Judkins and let's say Deebo Samuel. That's not enough, right?
I don't love that. I mean, Deebo absolutely dominated this week because he was the number one option. So when he's the number one, he gets a lot of those shares. I think if I don't know if they said this, if you're 0-4 or whatever, I guess you'd be 1-5 now. So if you're one of those, I think you can make this for more depth. I think you could do that. Judkins is an RB1. He's RB1 adjacent. If he's not an RB1, of course he looks good.
I know it was early for you on the Westy Coast side.
Yeah, I watched the second half. I'm not waking up at 6:30 in the morning to watch the first.
He looked great.
Of course.
It's funny because I made this comment on another show earlier today, and it feels like the Browns are slowly, quietly, silently kind of remaking themselves into a much more athletic and interesting team. You have Quinshon Judkins and Fannin and Isaiah Bonds running all over the place. And maybe the Browns are kind of onto something here. Maybe they're starting to turn things around, and now they pivot to Dylan Gabriel. And it wasn't all bad with Dylan Gabriel. There were some good moments there from him, certainly more athletic moments than you're going to see from Joe Flacco at this stage of his life. But I think what you're looking for is a Judkins level running back and a wide receiver in that Devontae Adams-ish kind of realm. That's what it's got to be. But again, I'm not looking to move off Judkins.
I just don't know if you could. I just don't even get that. I think I agree. I'm not trying to get off of Jefferson. If you're going on the high end, you still have to get something back, I think, because I'm not even sure if a Marion Hampton would have been a good one, but he got banged up. You're not going to get Jonathan Taylor, so it's the borderline there is a Cook or Brees, but you probably just have to settle lower. So I think the bar for the other, if you get rid of Cam Scadaboo as a running back, the bar for the wide receiver has to be up. I think it's just really tough. I wouldn't be selling Justin Jefferson like he's being sold at a low. I think that's the most important thing.
Here's one from It's Mason. Panic meter on Derrick Henry. This we got to talk about because I'm not sure if we're going to get Lamar Jackson back or not this week. It's early here. It's a Monday. We're recording this. And the Ravens clearly have imploded. The offense with Cooper Rush yesterday was a disaster. The defense has nobody healthy on it. And even when they were healthy, they weren't playing very well. You've lost so much in a short period of time. I know there's a lot of people saying, hey, there's still plenty of time because that division is soft. But you know what? All the Steelers have to do is basically handle their business and split with the Ravens here in the season in order to win that division right now. But if Derrick Henry, in terms of asset right now, I don't know if the fumbling got into his head there or if it's just a matter of like this offense just can't run the way it's currently constituted. I think it's more the latter. But he's an interesting buy low for me because at some point, Lamar is healthy. And at some point, when you're making that stretch run, I'm actually of the mind of buying Derrick Henry now. So the panic meter, I think, is real. I think it's pretty high for the Derrick Henry manager because outside of that first week, it's been kind of rough, Welsh. You think, is he a buy or a sell right now?
I think it's a bad time to sell just because like he's had 2 weeks and you're selling at a low. We know he can be a high volume running back. I think this week they're going to try to lean back into him. They've got a tougher matchup against the Rams defense can be pretty tough. If Lamar is out, I think you're going to have to lean back on Derrick Henry as much as possible. When Lamar Jackson's back, I think that puts him in a much better spot. We clearly know how he can thrive in there. I'm a buy. I really, really hate like massively talented players on like a 2-week bad turn, then talking about how we have to sell them. Imagine after the 2 weeks Jamar Chase just had, and then this week happened, and you're just like, oh man.
Oh, he was
like,
one of the most traded players this week.
Of course he was.
And we took
and to
more
sell
questions
low
on the trade streams about Jamar Chase and what do I do? Is this enough to get for Jamar Chase? And we kept saying the same thing. It's like, you can't do it, and don't do it now when they're finally going home. And look, I know it was garbage time, and I know it's not pretty, but elite wide receivers, elite players will still be elite even during bad stretches. Just they can't be elite every game. And that brings me to this question too, because I had it in the show sheet to ask today. Are the Ravens beyond repair? Because they've now allowed 35 or more points in 4 games. That's the most in a season in team history. Do you think the Ravens are beyond repair, or is there enough time left in the season for them to get healthy, get right, and find a way into the playoffs?
I think their defense feels like it's beyond repair, but they are not beyond repair. Like they can win games going toe to toe. You know what I mean? Like they can do that. They can't do it without Lamar. They're not going to do it with Cooper Rush. Clearly, I think they could go and improve offensively. Can they put Band-Aids on some of the defense? Sure, they could go make moves. You got to get a little bit of healthy, but they're the worst. I mean, Joe, you were on the show. I had a great betting week this week, and one of those bets was going up against the Ravens. You know, going up as far as the pass defense goes. Because what was that one? It was I
have to go back and look, but we had a good week. I was 5-0. You had a
I was 4-1
week.
I was 4-1 with the touchdown, and I'm sorry. You know what it was?
That's what you do.
Fields was my one, but it was also Stroud. I'm sorry, I had this mixed up on the rank show. I talked about I had Stroud higher than most people because I thought like Stroud's going to dominate these guys. Now he didn't get my 300-yard marker, I don't think, if I remember correctly, but he had the 4 touchdowns. Their defense feels like it's beyond repair, but this team can still bounce back. We don't have to get a weekly Stavi video. Like they can do this because their offense can be so powerful, but they have to have Lamar Jackson. Cooper Rush.
Are they more interesting as guys who are chasing for a change? You know, like we've seen the Ravens have great seasons, win 14 games, then lose home playoff games to Patrick Mahomes and stuff. Like we've seen this story before. You think maybe it's better for them to be the chasers once, and like maybe now, maybe the weight of everything was so bad. It's kind of funny because it was like a couple years ago the Chiefs were kind of like this. Remember where the Chiefs were kind of like a slow start, whatever, and then they kind of got hot late, and then they became the chasers. And that was the year that Mahomes went in and beat Lamar Jackson on the road as an underdog, and we made all that money every single game when he was the underdog on the road. It just feels like maybe the Ravens should be looking around and starting to reconsider. And here you go. Here's a perfect question. We could just talk about this from Six Zanzo. Should I trade Jamar Chase for CMC? Now, that's interesting. CMC leads the league in touches right now. He's 130. That's 20 more than Jonathan Taylor. I don't know if that's a good thing. I've been telling everybody pick up Brian Robinson Jr. just because that's a lot of touches through a 5-week period. Who would you rather have rest of season? I assume it's CMC, but does the workload of the first 5 weeks bother you at all?
Nope. I mean, Sure, like he's got all the touches. Like I think the concern is like in your face, but CMC also looks great. They're also doing this without all their offensive pieces. So they don't have to give him 72 touches per game once we get Kittle back, once we've got, if Ayuk comes back. But really, once you get Jennings and Pearsall going, they're still winning games. They are incorporating Brian Robinson a lot. It's a necessity when you're starting wide receivers are Demarcus Robinson, Kendrick Bourne, and Sky Moore. You're going to have to give Christian McCaffrey the ball quite a lot. But no, I think he's super efficient. He's an insane wide receiver right now. As good as as Jamar Chase was in that game, that first half of the Bengals, if you watched it, was exactly like all of the other Jake Browning games. Some of the worst football ever, no offensive line help, Browning throwing at his feet, doing wrong reads. There was one, Chase was wide open, he missed. The offense looked bad. They made really good adjustments on the back end here, but the Bengals are in for it, and it's still in a rough spot. So if you get a team that's going to shut down Jamar Chase, they got nothing. So Jamar can still be great. He's a super talented player. Their offense is so bad. Christian McCaffrey, you have an injury risk, of course, but he is the high-touch guy. Once that offense gets humming even more, you're going to have more rushing touchdowns. Give me CMC over Jamar Chase.
Browning and the Bengals, by the way, they head to Green Bay this week. Over under 3.5 sacks of Jake Browning in that game.
Over. Is that something I can bet?
I'm sure. I don't know, but I'm sure going to try. And it's weird because you look at that matchup on paper and you say, oh, the corners aren't great. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, you should actually be all right. But I just don't know if he's going to be upright long enough for that offensive line to do anything about it.
I don't bet defensive stuff. I'm a yards, receptions, ladders. Kind of I don't bet defensive stuff. Whatever the Micah Parsons sack number is this week, I'm going over. And if they'll let me, he might have 5 sacks this week. Like, the offensive line might be the worst in the NFL, and Jake Browning doesn't know what to do. Micah Parsons is going to have a multi-sack week. I have no question about it. I
would bet the multi-sacks for Parsons. All right, Fahey's got a question. Should I trade A.J. Brown, Ferguson, and Chase Brown for Diggs? And I assume James Cook is what we're talking about here. So
what other Cook would it be?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's just curious.
I don't know. Dalvin Cook?
It's not like it was Smith. Like if it which Smith or Brown is that?
Look, this week, by the time you get to like week 5, 6 in the season, your brain just starts to mold over when people just throw last names in.
You gotta put that back up. I don't remember the names already. So all right, Diggs and Cook. Well, he's dying. Diggs is also on a piece that I want to talk about here. I actually think Diggs and Ferguson could be a lot closer than we're giving credit for. I think Brown and Diggs. I think.
Well, Brown, I love this week against the Giants. Like that is a great matchup. Like all this chirping and stuff. It's really hard to get him the football against the secondary of the Denver Broncos.
Well, great offenses can get the ball to the receivers no matter who's covering them, but
apparently A.J. Brown's also a great defender because he kept that ball away from Devonta Smith at the end. Sorry, too soon?
Dude, I'm really torn on this one.
I'm not. I thought the Diggs and Cook side, and I'll tell you why. Because Ferguson, I think when CeeDee Lamb comes back in a few weeks, and he will, there's already rumors that he might ramp up this week. We'll see if that's true or not. But I think Ferguson falls back a little bit once you have that. And then you've got Diggs, who I think... Ask yourself this question. The way these offenses are going to run the rest of the year, you want Drake Maye slinging the football to that one target of Stefon Diggs where there's not a lot of competition?
Yeah.
Or the run-heavy offense that works for the Philadelphia Eagles? And I don't want... look, I like A.J. Brown. I still like buying on him, but I think Cook and Diggs gives me a lot more on a weekly basis than the other. It's a good deal for everybody. Let me say, Fahey, I think that's an all right deal for everybody.
Yeah, I'm down with that. I think Diggs is taking another level. James Cook is like... either 1A or 1B of the best player in there. A.J. Brown is just super talented, but that offense, I don't know when to get going. I'm fine actually doing that trade because I think James Cook is a huge get here. Chase Brown is, if you play in a 2.5 receptions for running backs behind the 5-yard line, then Chase Brown's the best NFL
He's so
back.
good there.
Yeah.
That's really where he shines. All right, let's talk about takeaways and favorite moments of the week here. And I'll start with my big takeaway. Always trust Baker Mayfield on the road as an underdog. It never fails. It was upset special twice now this year because it's only happened twice, which makes me terrified because this week against the 49ers at home, he's a favorite and I want to bet on him. I want to like it. I can't do it. So, Baker Mayfield, probably the game of the day, I think, besides the night game, which was very entertaining for me personally. But if I told you back in 2018, Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield are going to have an amazing fun game on a Sunday afternoon in 2025, I bet you wouldn't think they'd be playing for the Buccaneers and the Seattle Seahawks doing it. But they were, and it was fun. And Baker Mayfield just finds a way to get it done. And I'll tell you what, Emeka Egbuka is an absolute stud.
Yep.
And then everybody was second-guessing them in the draft when they made that pick. Why are they doing this? They've got Godwin, they've got Evans, they've just took McMillan the year before. Why? because if you just take the best player on the board, good things happen.
Dude.
And what a terrific job by the front office there for me.
Did you see, too, all of the people this week? I mean, like, listen, we all love analytics and we break down a lot of stuff, but every just mouth breather just being like, Egbuka's got a 0 NFL score, blah, blah, blah. He looks like Baker Mayfield loves him. Looks like one of the best wide receivers in the league. Like,
Wait,
sometimes,
what were people saying negative against him?
Oh, God, if I could find it. What is it? It was like...
he's plus 115 leading the pack for Rookie of the Year right now. Ashton Genty's plus 380. Dart is 650. I don't see a work. This might be the last time to get in on this Egbuka at this price before it goes minus. Like,
was
I don't
it
know,
the
man.
separation score? Someone can help out, but it was like... I think they were saying like he's like the worst in the NFL in separation score, and people were like, sell now, get him out of here. Egbuka, worst separation score, you got to get out. And it's just like he just continue. He's Chris Carter. All he does is catch touchdowns. He always finds a spot to get open.
Game too. Yeah, he does. He finds a way to get open in big spots. Baker Mayfield's looking for him, and it's just awesome. It's just fantastic. What was let's do a takeaway for you here. What was your takeaway from this week?
We've kind of talked about both of mine. My takeaway, though, is that Diggs is now official. So it started off slow. So we were talking about Stefon Diggs a little bit earlier. He talked about his comfortability in the offense. We saw like Purdy the first week. We saw some Douglas. We would see Diggs. I remember my very first bet of the season was a Stefon Diggs over receiving yard prop, which did hit, but it was super tough because he wasn't playing all the snaps. They're getting him in weird spots, kind of learning. Things have started to progress. What I'm getting at is kind of like in this is how I feel, the Jutkins was unleashed territory. We are now in unleashed Stefon Diggs territory. This week alone, he had the third highest first read percentage. He had a great air yard score. He ended up having 60 air yards, a bunch of receptions, one of the highest target percentages of the week. All the things are there. Drake Maye has talked about how fun it's going to be to let Stefon Diggs do the thing. Well, guess what? We're there. He's doing the thing. He's comfortable in the offense. Maye loves him. He had, I think it was 6.5 yards per route run, 12 to 13 yards after the catch. Maybe I inflated that. Maybe it was like 8 yards, but tons of yards after the catch per yards route run. Targets, first read percentage. Drake Maye loves him. So when we look at that trade, that's why I said when you look at A.J. Brown versus Stefon Diggs, ladies and gentlemen, it's not that far off here. Diggs is a number one in this offense now with Drake Maye, who is moving this. And I think Diggs should sit somewhere as like a mid-tier wide receiver too, and he's got wide receiver upside like you saw this week. So that was a big takeaway that I think he has finally clicked into this offense.
This year.
I think that's possible.
I don't think that's a hot take. I think he finishes as a top 20 wide receiver. And September was kind of like that slow ramp up coming off the injury, right? He looks fantastic. And I know he was super motivated, but look, it's a good match. The rest of the season schedule is pretty good for the Patriots. Why we talked about that over for the win total for them, because it's pretty good. Here's a fun thing, too. This is a great job by our folks here and our producer. So according to PFF, the highest passer rating when targeted this season, Emeka Egbuka, 145.3 per PFF. That's insane.
It's a great stat. I always wonder if that's one. I mean, because there's always a battle, especially as a baseball person. There's always a battle of like analytics versus like real world stuff.
Well, the ESPN analytics has him way far down, and I'm like, maybe your analytics model isn't very good if you have a Emeka Egbuka that far down.
Yeah, but what I was saying is I wonder if like the NFL pays attention or anybody pays attention to that specific stat where it's like they have the highest quarterback percentage when throwing the ball. If that's something that people are really logged into, because like guess what, he's a great possession receiver. Talking about like separation scores and stuff like that, like it doesn't matter. Like you can get him the ball. And by the way, I was going to say this earlier. How about the whole like Baker Mayfield will never repeat last year? There's a huge narrative around what a failure he was going to be.
He fell in drafts significantly.
I got him in multiple spots because he ended up being outside the top 10, and he has all the weapons. And he looks great. He's still making it happen. Like maybe he's not going to throw over 40 touchdowns or whatever, but you know, with Emeka, you never know. Sky's the limit.
This same metric, by the way, on ESPN has Jamar Chase as the 67th wide receiver by this metric or whatever it is. So
what is it, like the shredder like they do, where it's just like
no, it's not the shredder, it's open score, which is actually one I'm not familiar with.
I think that's the one I was talking about. That's the open score they gave. They're like, Emeka Egbuka he has the worst open score in the NFL, you should trade him.
Maybe you should close the open score. All right, let's talk about Now, Bogman's not here, but he likes to have his presence felt on the show today. His takeaway was buy low on A.J. Brown, and I agree. So I will reiterate that for Bogman as well. He's got a great matchup Thursday.
You just sold him.
No, I sold him because I was getting Diggs and Cook, and I think that's pretty good because Ferguson, again, right now, tight ends, there's guys like Mason Taylor on the waiver wire, Theo Johnson on the waiver wire, Darren Waller still available on some waiver wires. I'll figure that out, but let's not be crazy here. When CeeDee Lamb is back, CeeDee Lamb's going to get the lion's share of these targets. Jalen Tolbert disappears. Pickens will be a guy, and again, we're just going to pick up where we were before that. His moment of the week was Mac Jones eating a banana while being worked on, which also was pretty damn good.
A lot of bananas.
You've made it when someone hands you a banana already peeled. Like that, he didn't even have to peel his own banana. That's when you're a star, Welsh.
Did you hear too, outside of him also being dressed like Harley Quinn in the episode, did you see that he like,
I hope we're
was
not
this a real story
Bogman.
about the person in the water? Did you hear about this? I don't even want to know if I should say this on here.
I don't know, but it seems like we shouldn't, so let's talk about it.
He said I don't know if this is true. Like, I could have been getting got out there, but like, he's eating bananas, he's dressed like Harley Quinn, and then it was something like he saw someone floating in the water. Like, not like having a great time, if you know what I mean, floating in the water.
Did he see this person floating in the water?
No.
Wait, Seth, do you have the picture? Can we bring that picture back up? Was it this person?
No. I think, unfortunately, the person was on the other side. So,
it wasn't that banana. But
I don't know. I could have been got about that. Mac Jones is having a really weird time right now.
Whatever, man. He looks good. He looks good in the system. All right, let's get to the moments for me and Welsh here. Obviously, mine was Diggs. 146 yards against his old team. That was the moment of the week for me. And it's funny because I had a massive parlay that I cashed out of because I just got a feeling at the end. And the last leg of it was just the Bills to win. And then somewhere in that middle of the fourth, I was like, I got to cash out of this. And I could have won a couple $100. I had to settle for just like 65, 70% of it. And I was like, you know what? Because I hit the Carolina Panthers. I hit the team total of the Lions. I hit everything. It was like a 5-leg parlay. And the last thing was the stupid Bills that just win a football game against my lowly Patriots. And they couldn't do it. And I just had this weird feeling like, Mac Jones can't be denied. Mac Jones, right after he made that play, when the guy was pulling him by the collar and he stood up and he threw that one ball to Diggs, I cashed out. I was like, this is not happening. Something has gone on here. And Mac Jones. Drake Maye is just going to now become a guy, and he is going to take off from this game. And look, he has played well this year, but prime time in Buffalo, that's a tough spot. So that was my moment for sure. Welsh, you already kind of touched on your moment of the day, but let's touch on it one more time. How dumb is it? It's one thing when you're the first guy to do this and it's an accident, but isn't there something that goes around and reverberates through the league where it's like, hey, everybody, just before we start practice today, when you score a touchdown, make sure you cross the goal line before you drop the ball. Right?
Yeah, I would tell me otherwise. I think this is the dumbest play in the NFL in the last 5 years. I don't know if I would say it all time, but it might be. Because it is not like this just accident. Like, you broke a 70-yarder. Yeah, you broke a 70-yarder. You cost your team the win, and it literally just happened. Like, every NFL team should be talking about it. I think it is the single stupidest play in the NFL this year, and that I can remember. And you can't be like, oh, the guy fumbled. When guys fumble, like, it is dumb, it sucks. If a guy fumbles 2 or 3 times, it's heartbreaking. It's not as stupid as what this was. This was the dumbest play in the NFL that I can recall, simply with the extra little, like, sauce on top because of it happening last week. It's crazy.
All right. Let's do a little fact or fiction. If you've got fact or fictions, you can drop them in and we'll try to give our best answer. Here's one from the legend. Fact or fiction, Calvin Ridley is back after last week's performance, Welsh. You know what it takes for the Titans to win a football game? It takes them making a mistake where they throw a pick, somebody then fumbling that pick, and Tyler Lockett, probably the only way he's going to score this year is by picking up that fumble and recovering it for a touchdown. That's what it takes for the Titans to win, and guess what? They might win this week too. I'm just telling you right now, I got a weird feeling about that game. But anyway, fact or fiction, is Calvin Ridley back?
Yeah, I think he's like back-ish. Use this again. He's adjacent to back. Like,
I love that show.
Is he fully back? Yeah, that's not the same show. Is he fully back? No, because I think he kind of stinks a little bit. But like, things readjusted himself. He had the top 15 first read percentage, over 30% first read percentage. They were able to get him the ball. They got him out a little bit deep. Maybe, I-Miner's helping this out, even though he just kind of continuously doesn't do a whole bunch. Like, I think Ridley is back into the graces where we can talk about starting him. I think he's going to be a waiver wire priority for some people because people cut him. I think he more needed to be a player that was on a lot of benches. Now I think he can push wide receiver 3 or 4 territory, but does that back? Like, I don't know. So that's why it's adjacent to back to me.
Yeah, I don't want to say back, so I'm going to say fiction. That's where I'm going to go. All right, I got another factor fiction for you. Carson Wentz should stay a quarterback for the Vikings rest of season, even when J.J. McCarthy's ready. Factor fiction.
Fiction. I mean, I think I know what we're doing. This is similar to your, like, there's a controversy, Mac Jones and Brock Purdy. Like, no, like, Wentz can be efficient. He throws to tight ends. Like, he's a veteran. This is what they do, but he's not spectacular. If J.J. McCarthy is garbage, then yes, but you're going to break him. You're going to break this talent level of this guy who missed all of last year, needs to come in, get adjusted to the offense. Like, I think he needs to be the quarterback, but it's a totally, like, fair question because Wentz is being efficient, but I'll say fact or fiction,
All right,
I guess.
Tryland has one. It's very personal, though. Factor fiction, we will get Joe as Dr. Evil again this Halloween. Now, I didn't do it last year because I figured I did it twice. People get sick of it. But apparently not, because I guess it upset people that I didn't do it last year. Now, we don't have a show on Halloween. We have a Halloween adjacent show. So I could do it.
What day?
Well, I have a
Halloween
live stream
like
on
Friday?
Thursday. It's a Friday, but like I'm not going to dress up for the Betting Pro show. You know,
We have the prop show.
then Erickson's got to dress up, and he doesn't know who anybody is.
I'm also on the show, so I might have to dress up too if you forgot.
Well,
so,
like
yeah.
but what do you think? Fact or fiction? Should we bring back Dr. Maybe we should put a poll up. Can we put a poll up here? We do that over here on the Twitch? We'll get a poll going.
Well, you know what? Hey,
should I bring back Dr. Evil this year for the live stream on the Thursday Start Sit?
You're pretty, I loosely say this, you're flamboyant with your acting and stuff like that. Here, you got a lot of costumes. I don't. Joe was just at like
props.
You were at a Comic-Con.
I got a kazoo.
Why don't
I
every
was a
Monday?
good Bane. My Bane was so good. People screamed at cars from the sidewalks from me. Like I was walking on the sidewalk, people driving down the street. Literally, women in cars screaming at me.
Hi, Joe. You should be.
I was born in the darkness.
I think you every Monday for I was about to call it leading off out of bounds. The rest of October, you should dress up. You should dress up and be because I know you've got more than 2 costumes. You could be Dr. Evil, you could be Bane, and then surprise us.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to Fact or Fiction here. Dowdle stole the starting job. Fact or Fiction. That was 201 yards from Dowdle. That was stunning, and I'm so annoyed because Derrick Brown picked him up and played him against me in our league this week, and I was just like, you're a jerk.
I don't think he took the job because in my eyes, taking the job means that he now gets 15 to 20 touches per game and Chuba Hubbard gets what's left over. But what I do think is this is now a Charbonnet Ken Walker situation. You got to get them touches. I think Dowdle is going to have some spots where he might be more efficient. He looked awesome in that game. So I don't think he stole the game, but what he did take away from Chuba is being like a bell cow. And I think that has to be dead because there's no chance that you could just like be like, all right, get back to doing nothing, Rico, moving forward. Like you can't do what the Niners would have done when McCaffrey was active when they had Jordan Mason and just said, see ya. This is going to be a split situation now. So Dowdle has some flex, some flex potential here, and you should pick him up if he's available. I don't think he's available in wires.
No,
you
he's
should
like
pick him up.
80% rostered. Because I was looking at it for the waiver wire show. I was like, how many people did actually pick up Dowdle? And I was shocked. It was like 79% on Sleeper. By the way, Tryland, thanks for resubbing with Prime. You should resub with Prime or sub for the first time too, because if you do, you get rid of those nasty commercials on Twitch. So use your Amazon Prime, $5, you get rid of those. Subscribe to Fantasy Pros on Twitch, twitch.tv/FantasyPros. We got a lot of other fact
Hold on,
fictions
I
here.
want to ask you one. I want to ask you one.
All right,
Who would you rather rest of season, Rico Dowdle or Michael Carter?
Michael Carter.
Okay. Yeah.
I got zero chill on that one because I'm worried that Benson doesn't come back for a very long time.
Clearly.
And I think that's good enough for me there. Let's get to, here's another Fact or Fiction. Fact or Fiction, QJ will have a better rest of season than AJ Brown. I say fiction. I'm loving this show more and more every week because we have to do very little. The audience is basically now dictating the entire show.
I actually love that you guys are doing the Fact or Fiction.
Yeah, this is a new. Somebody started it, and I'm going to just let you guys do it. I'm just going to sit back, and we're just going to show up and let you guys do this every week. So Fact or Fiction. I say fiction. I think QJ tails off here. I think that Chargers offensive line is showing some problems. Amarian Hampton's going to miss some time now. Chargers went from 3-0, and they could be facing 3-3 right now. They could lose 3 in a row here very easily this week.
I'm gonna say fact. Actually,
okay.
I hate doing this because I think AJ Brown is super talented, and they could adjust. But I just don't think the Eagles will adjust. They just want to pound the ball, and they'll find a couple games where they can pass. And look at this game. A.J. Brown got taken out. It was all Devontae Smith. A.J. Brown's still going to have a couple big weeks. But so is Quentin Johnson. And he's still going to get involved. Like, I know people are like going to be celebrating, like, oh, like, Ladd, he got the... Ladd didn't have a great... He had the touchdown.
No, he had a touchdown.
Then he was back to doing exactly what he does every single week. This has been one of the most pass-heavy teams. Hampton might be banged up. They can't run at the same rate. I'm going to say it's Quentin Johnston.
All right, fact or fiction, Jameson Williams is droppable in most leagues. I say no. When he's at home, he explodes. When he's on the road, he's just not the whatever reason, the way the offense operates. But the problem is, he is a player that is a flex player. And I kept trying to drive this home to people because they would look at the raw stats and they would go, oh, wow, look at what he did last year. Oh, if he could only do more. But the problem is, he's never going to come close to the target share that goes to guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown or even guys like Jahmyr Gibbs or Laporta to a certain extent because Amon-Ra St. Brown is so good at what he does. He is such a master of route running, of ski. He's such a fantastic wide receiver. And Jameson Williams is the guy that takes the top off the defense. He can have some big games and some quiet games. He is much more of a flex play than he is anything else. And I think people overrated him, but I wouldn't drop him. So I'd say fiction. Don't drop him. What do you say?
Yeah, I agree. Why would he be the guy to drop it? Like, he's droppable in maybe 10-man leagues if there's something cool out there, but I would say no. He's just like better team Christian Watson right now, and that has some play.
All right. Fact or fiction, Darren Waller will be a better tight end option over Kyle Pitts rest of season.
I'm going to say fact.
No!
I think I'm going to say fact. Darren Waller.
Prisoner of the moment, Welsh.
Okay, but listen.
Say it ain't so.
Listen. That team has nobody else. I don't know why they went to Darren Waller like it was Jonnu Smith from last year in the first half and then completely disappeared. But what I know is Malik Washington's not the answer right now. Dude had 4 catches. 3 of them were for negative yards. Like, they can't spread the ball out. But guess what Darren Waller can do? He can get down the middle of the field just like Jonnu was doing. I think Darren Waller is going to be a 4 to 6 catch guy and maybe one of the number 1 red zone options for a team. Kyle Pitts is doing okay. Like, Michael Penix is making him valuable. I just think they're super close. I don't know if I'm going to drop my Kyle Pitts necessarily for him because I do think both of these guys are right there. But I'm not going to be shocked when it's Kyle Pitts has, 50 catches for 600 yards and 3 touchdowns, and Darren Waller has 40 catches for 500 yards and 9 touchdowns. Like, I think Darren Waller we have to consider as a tight end 1 rest of season. You clearly don't. You freaked out about it.
I think he can be, but I think Pitts has gotten off to a pretty decent start this year, and
Darren
Waller is older, and I don't know. I just. You're right. You make a good argument for it, but I can't get there right now.
Listen, Theo Johnson could outperform Kyle Pitts at this point. Dart loves him. Dart, know what
Dart also has very little options, and if Darius Slayton's going to miss time with a hamstring, it's more Theo Johnson all day.
You want to know who had the most in-zone targets in the NFL this weekend? Theo Johnson. Dart loves him, and he's going to keep doing that stuff. So, Theo Johnson has the potential to as well, but that's the state of tight end. The state of tight end is... It went from last year to everybody LOLing all over everybody if you didn't have one of the top 4 or 5 tight ends because everything sucked, to just a plethora of options week in and week out to stream at tight end. Mason Taylor got 12 targets this week. Theo Johnson is involved. There are so many tight ends. Guess what? If you were me and Bogman did a top 5 on the waivers this weekend. At least 2 of them got to be tight ends. That's also how bad waivers kind of looks right now, pinning your league. But you got to take a look at those guys. So I think it's like a thin line. That's why I'm comfortable just saying, sure. Waller.
I want to lightning round a couple of the ones that we had to talk about too, because I want to get your take.
Sure.
Just so we'll go to these real quick, and then we'll get to the 4-3-1-1, and we'll get out for the day. Raiders will be making a quarterback change in Week 6 because Geno Smith keeps throwing picks. I say fact. What do you say?
I'm gonna say in Week 6, I'll say fiction.
Okay. Cowboys offense is good enough to make them a playoff team, even though the defense sucks. Fact or fiction?
Fiction.
Okay. Let's go to Emeka Egbuka will be a first-round pick in 2026 drafts. Fact or fiction?
You should have done top 2 round. I'm gonna say fiction,
okay.
But it's close.
At the turn.
I think he'll be like a mid-ish second-round pick, something like that.
We'll finish one for Mason. Derrick Henry finishes as an RB1 this year. I think he might, just because of all the injuries that have happened. He still might backdoor his way in there. I'll say fact.
Yeah, it's going to be tough because guys like Judkins and Etienne and Cam Scatterboo might make a late run with all the players in there. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say fact because of its touchdown equity, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he didn't.
All right, let's take a look at the 3-1-1 contest. I've still got Patrick Mahomes alive for tonight and Xavier Worthy for Bogman. Welsh is done. He got shut out this week. Wah, wah.
Suck.
So I am on the board with 5. I can get to 6. Bogman could get to 5, but Worthy is questionable tonight, so we'll see if he plays. Let's turn our attention to next week, to week 6 in the NFL. 300-yard passer. Well, I know his name. His name is Dak Prescott, and he's taking on the Carolina Panthers defense. It's in Carolina. It doesn't clearly need CeeDee Lamb to throw for 300 yards, so I'm going to go ahead and take Dak Prescott. I'm also going to take Saquon Barkley to rush for 100 yards against the Giants in New York. Is nothing Saquon Barkley loves to do more than remind the Giants of how good he was and how dumb they were to let him go. And then it's been the theme of the show, Emeka Egbuka against your 49ers to put up another 100 spot. He's the guy right now, and I don't care what any open stat, open whatever the hell metrics tell me, Emeka Egbuka is a stud, and he showed up every single week, making big plays, making the ones that count, getting touchdowns, and Baker Mayfield clearly has confidence in him in big spots. So Dak, Saquon, and Emeka Egbuka. Bogman next week is going to go with Josh Allen at Atlanta, Josh Jacobs in Cincinnati, and JSN at Jacksonville. It would have been nice if he had all Joshes. That would have been tricky.
He did go with the J's, though. He gets credit for the triple J's.
At least the J's. The triple J's. Allen, Jacobs, and JSN. Welsh, where are you going for your 300-yard passer, 100-yard rusher, and 100-yard receiver this week in the NFL?
Did Jeff Jarrett become triple J, or was it always just double J?
He was double J.
Okay,
well, Jerry Jeudy. He could have gone Jerry Jeudy, but that would be asking a lot of Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, well, that'd be just not winning. Like me. That would be mine. I am not. You
were
what I did?
Close, though. You were close. You were not close with Devon Achane. I believe that was one of your picks.
Yeah.
Not so much with the rushing Devon Achane, but a hell of a touchdown cap.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? You want your first touchdown bets? I cashed out mine this week, killed those. You want your 300, 100, 100? I'm not your guy. I have not been doing it well. But I am going to continuously go against Baltimore, and you got Matthew Stafford this week, so give me a break. Matthew Stafford and the Rams, unfortunately, they might be able to just run down their throat, but if this game is close whatsoever, the Rams are just going to be slinging the ball. Puka and Devontae Adams should eat them up, which, by the way, I'm going to just pair him. I'm going to stack with Puka as my 100-yard receiver because Baltimore are garbage. If they had just needed to throw a little bit more to Nico could add 150 yards if he wanted. They just were able to efficiently get the ball around. But this offense,
in the first quarter.
Yeah, this offense runs through Puka. And then I'm going to go with Ashton Genty. Ashton Genty versus Tennessee. Technically, before DeMarcado was a big dumb idiot, that was like a 70-yard burner. Michael Carter was getting some efficiency in there. And this team, what do the Raiders needs to do? Get the ball out of Geno Smith's hands. Get it into Ashton Genty. So I'm going to go with Genty for 100 yards. I affectionately say with DeMarcado. I would be devastated if I did something like that. And he was apologetic, by the way, and he deserves credit for taking ownership for it. But how you could do that after someone just did it, it is not
unprofessional.
Subjective. Yeah, it is objectively dumb. Stupid.
Objectively unprofessional, I think is even it.
Oh, just stupid.
Let's go take a question from Jay here. One last trade question. Would you trade Debo for A.J. Brown? I'm going to say no. I want Debo in that offense, especially with Jaden Daniels back healthy. How about you?
That's a pretty close one. I mean, when McLaurin's back, it kind of takes off the... I would probably go with A.J. Brown there for the upside, but... when McLaurin's not there, Debo was a dog this week. He looked like back to being number one. But, they got, like, the rushing upside doesn't exist. Bill Krosky looks really good. Jaden Daniels will spread the ball around. So I'll go with A.J. Brown.
All right, there you have it, everybody. Make sure also you keep the conversation going on our Discord, fantasypros.com/chat. It's free. It's fun. We got shows going over there. Welsh does a show with Erickson on Thursdays at 2. So be part of the shows, be part of the community. Go join our Discord. Also, make sure you check out our Twitch. Again, we're giving away the Devon Achane jersey signed by Devon Achane from pristineauction.com. If you're a Twitch subscriber, you get 1.5 times odds boost of winning. So go subscribe to our Twitch, twitch.tv/fantasypros, and make sure you hang out with us over on the YouTube channel too. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, trying to get to 300,000 this year. We can do it with your help. And what a fantastic... Oh, there you go. Sent the trade. There you go, Jay. Let's go, baby. Let's send that trade. So good job on there. So, we are really loving this because I love that you guys are now dictating the show. This is like the people's show. I like this. I like where we're going with this. You guys took over the questions last week. You took over the fact or fiction this week. I like this. You know why I like it? Less work for me, Welsh. Less work for me late on a Sunday night. So we are the people's show. Subscribe to Fantasy Pros. Out of Bounds will be back next Monday again live on the Twitch, twitch.tv/fantasypros. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on for the Welsh. I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time. Bye, kids. Somebody better wake up Bogman before he drowns from that water. It does seem shallow, though.
Where's the Bogman?
Yeah. Perhaps the Bogman should come back next week for his 3-1-1. I feel like I'm too David Bowie.
Oh, you got way too Bowie there. Yeah,
it's like
no.
golden years